We're going to move along on to our next guest, and this is about people getting involved. Sam Brannon, you came here, and somebody said, "Why don't you go down to Commissioner's Court and check it out?"
Yeah, I think I remember who that somebody was too.
Oh, okay, we're instigators, and it's about 2 months ago,
Right.
and there was you didn't know what you were walking into, did you?
I had no idea. I'd never, and I'm embarrassed to say this because, and I think a lot of us are, but I had never been to a commissioner's court meeting in my life.
Okay, so where is Commissioner's Court for everybody to know?
It's just right over here across the street on the town square in San Marcos.
On third, you got to walk up 3 stories.
Yeah, or there's an elevator.
Or an elevator.
Yeah.
9 o'clock. Well, it helps me to walk up every now and then when I can.
Absolutely.
And so, what did you start to find out? What was your impressions?
Well, it's interesting because there's so much history behind many of the things they're doing that I can't possibly get that. But I'm 45 years old, and I spent 17 years in corporate America working, and you kind of understand at a point when what you're being told is actually, the words actually represent something else. And so at points in time, I began to hear the conversations go on, and all it really does for me is raise questions. So then as we start asking those questions, we evaluate the feedback that we get and the type of answers that we get. And and this is not to go negative on the Commissioner's Court. I'll just say that we as people have a lot of work to do in making sure that our interests are fairly represented by our elected officials.
Well, and what kind of happened was that you found out that the budget process was wrapping up, and they were having this last Monday basically a public hearing. They were going to have 2 public hearings, one in the morning at 9 o'clock, one in the evening at 6 o'clock, and then they were going to vote on the budget. And it was a up or down on a couple different items. One of them was, what were the items that they were voting
on? There was an elected official pay increase. There was a tax rate increase, and which to me was really interesting because they didn't have a meeting the week of Labor Day weekend, and I missed the one before that, but 3 weeks before, they said, are we going to have a public hearing for a tax increase? No, there's not going to be a tax increase. And then they kind of laughed about it, and they chatted about this for 5 minutes. Should we have a public hearing? Do we need one? No, we don't need one. And then when I went to the online and found that it was actually being heard for a tax increase, I kind of threw me off a bit.
Yeah. Well,
and I know nobody was expecting this, so I reached out to a lot of people I knew in the community, about 80 or so people, and said, hey, come help us out. We've got some work to do here.
Well, we got a caller, so let's go ahead and take our call. Good evening. You are live on SMTX TV, We the People, and we have Sam Brannon here, and so I assume you're calling in to talk to Sam, and what would you like to say tonight, caller?
Oh, hi. This is Dr. Bert Cobb.
Dr. Cobb, how are you this evening? Thanks for calling in.
I'm wonderful. You're talking with one of my best friends and patriot, Sam Brannon.
I'm honored, sir.
Sam is a good man. He knows his business, and I really appreciate what he's done on the Commissioner's Court in the short time he's been involved. He's brought the dark into the light.
Well, good. That's what we need to do, is to have more people getting involved, and that's what it's about. But now you are running for Commissioner's Court for the county judge.
That's correct.
And one of the things that we were just kind of starting to talk about is the pay increases that they wanted to do. And how do you feel about the pay increases going up right now with basically the economy being flat?
I think it shows just how out of touch county government is with the people. We have the highest unemployment we've had in my lifetime. We have the largest number of foreclosures. People are losing jobs right and left. And when I go and I hear testimony from people who are being foreclosed upon, who've taken second and third jobs to pay their taxes, and then we have a court that raises their pay and wants to raise our taxes more, it just stinks.
Well, and I think that's kind of what we heard from the people there, at Commissioner's Court. Because now, Sam, you had, how many people came in that morning live with you?
Yeah, I believe in the morning it was about 15, and there were some other people. I'm not sure that they were all speaking against. A couple went in to thank the court for doing a fine job, of course. And in the evening, it was something more than that, 25 or 30 people, and probably 20 of them actually spoke. And from the email that I sent out, some people passed it around. What I offered is, it was on a Monday, and a lot of people are working. So I said, for anybody that won't be able to make it to the meeting, I suggest A, you write the county commissioners, and then B, if you copy me on it, I'll go in and speak on your behalf. And so in the morning, I was speaking on behalf of 14 people, and I got another 8 or 9 emails in the afternoon. So by the time the evening rolled around, it was 20, I think 3 people, and I announced their names and, you know, that they're speaking against. And so that, coupled with let's say the 25 or so people that actually spoke and the maybe 50 people that had attended, I think that was a real strong showing on a short notice. From people that really weren't comfortable. And you know, you mentioned, and Dr. Cobb mentioned, the economy right now. And I think what the mindset of most of our elected officials is, they're still spending like it's 2007. They still have that same mindset. And business is not operating that way. Individuals are not operating that way. We're making very different decisions. And we need to help them get to that point where they're making very different decisions.
Well, and you know, one of the things that happened out of this was that they were planning on making a vote that evening. But since one of the things that this kind of goes back to Steve Harvey's open San Marcos, which you are picking up with the open Hays, is that we did not have the ability to even look at this budget ahead of time.
Yeah, it wasn't posted beforehand, and they were surprised. I'll, you know, hope they were sincere when they when they stated
that it was really
they stated their
accidental.
surprise. Yeah, but that's something that they should have known long before that it wasn't posted up. And you know, you and a handful of other people emailed me before the meeting, where do we find the budget? I'm like, I don't know, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, none of us could find. So yeah, and that was what I really liked was to, yeah, before I even got in there to even speak, there was activists that were already up there leaning over the county clerk saying, where the heck is this? Show me where it's at.
Yeah.
But one of the things out of that was that they did decide to postpone a vote.
Right.
Now, Dr. Cobb, I think this is one of the things that you're asking for the citizens to come out and to speak up at this this vote. Am I correct?
Yes. It's sort of like at that wedding ceremony when they say, if you know anything for any reason why this shouldn't happen, stand up and speak or forever hold your peace. Well, it's the public's time now to stand up and say, we don't agree with this budget. We don't want our taxes raised. And the thing about it is, I've worked for lots of people through my career, and I don't believe that our founding fathers intended that people be paid career politicians. It was designed so that the average business person or educated person could go up there and do their job and then go back home. It was never intended to be a highly paid job. And it kind of ruffles my feathers when people can vote their own pay raises and not discuss it with the public.
Well, how many hours a week normally do the commissioners, and I'll throw this out to Sam or Dr. Cobb, how many hours a week do they normally spend?
To be fair, I don't know hour by hour, but I've always had access to them. I think they're always available. It's not how many hours, it's what gets done during those hours.
Okay.
I would agree with you. I presume that they work pretty hard.
I mean, I just
want to make sure that they're working hard on the things we care about.
Yeah.
And I also want to make sure that as we engage them in conversation, that we get straightforward answers. And one of the things that really concerned me about that hearing the other day, in the evening, a woman asked the question, you know, what were the last pay increases that the Commissioner's Court was given? And they spent 5 minutes answering what amounted to, there was a 2% across the board pay increase in 2008, I think it was. And I raised my hand. I said, I got a follow-up question on that. They said, well, we'll get to you after we finish with everybody else. And 20 minutes later, it came back around to me, and they called in, what was your question again? I said, well, you mentioned the 2% across the board 2 years ago. What were the pay raises just prior to that? And there were about 10 minutes of, you know, weaving a story, and you know, the calculations and how, but they never really told us. So I went back and, you know, worked with some people at the county office to find out what it was. And the commissioners today are making 17% more than they were in 2007. And the county judge is making, I think it's 12 or 13% more than that position paid in 2007. And I think I'm really concerned because after that kind of pay increase that, again, is not really being matched in the private sector these days, and it's not being matched by the citizens these days, and the economy isn't showing that. There's no justification whatsoever that I can see why they would come up and ask for public money to pay themselves more with all that we have going on. And the fact that they're doing it, I want to challenge, but the fact that they won't answer that question directly definitely needs challenged.
And, you know, part of this is that they're lumping all of the elected officials together, which also includes the our constables, our treasurer, you know, and you know, I understand that there has not been raises for a lot of these people for the past couple of years, but you know, a lot of the people got up in court and said, you know, we haven't had raises for 2 or 3 years in the private industry.
Oh, some of the stories we heard were really heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
You know, the woman that if I remember the story correctly, she's working more hours for 40% of the pay to hold her job, and then she had to run out of there to get her child to Cub Scouts. You know, so we've got people that are out there, you know, doing hard, honest labor, and a lot of people are struggling to get by. And you know, I just can't see taking these people's money to pay an elected official more. It just doesn't make sense in 2010.
Well, and I think this is, you know, this is the thing, is that we want our elected officials to listen to the people and to realize what's going on out there. And, you know, part of this is, okay, if we've got to make some decisions about what we're going to pay, what we're going to, you know, not get, okay, then let's make those decisions, but we've got to make that open to the public. So you have your chance, and you can go now to the website,
Right.
and you can review the budget.
Right.
And
we've got some people doing that. And actually, out of that group that came out and that received the original email that I've got, we had a number of the people that came out were first time ever in a commissioner's court, and I honor them for having done so. I've gotten emails back from them that they're going to become regulars, and they're going to start, you know, doing their job. And it is a little bit of a ramp up to get there, but you know, we've got a lot more people that I think, just based on this event, want to become more active. So if you're watching this and you haven't been to a city council meeting, or if you hadn't been to the commissioner's court, or if you hadn't been to your school district meetings, start going, because you'll learn all sorts of things, and things that you really care about and that impact all of us, money and otherwise.
And Dr. Cobb, again, when is it that people need to show up there, and that you're encouraging them to?
We'd like to have them show up on the 28th when they have it rescheduled for the vote. We'll be sending out flyers. Sam and I will get our heads together, and several other people that want to restore the republic. Those people are supposed to represent the people, and how will they know what decisions to make unless we show up and voice our opinions?
We have to do our job. That's right.
Our job as citizens of this country, to know what's going on in our government.
And I brought that up to the people that did come. We were talking afterwards in the evening, and I said, you know, it's really not, you know, our expression toward the court that matters so much. It's the way we look at our job here. You know, because we can't blame politicians for doing all these bad things if we haven't been there to have that conversation with them. So we really need to work on the working relationship between we the people and the people that we put in office. It's really doable. We just have to show up and put our heads in it, and I think it'll benefit everybody.
Well, Dr. Cobb, thank you for calling in tonight, and thank you for your service and running here for the people, and thank you for helping to bring this to everyone's attention, and we look forward to seeing you down there along with the rest of the citizens of Hays County, and on the 28th. And Sam, keep us posted.
I will.
Dr. Cobb, thanks for joining and calling in tonight. We appreciate the call.
Thank you for taking my call.